I wonder if you can guess which bird these feathers came from. If you guessed blue jay, you would be absolutely right. You can tell that they're wing feathers because one side of the feather has more feather material than the other side. That's a beautiful feather, isn't it? Let's move it up here and take a look. This is one of my favorite pictures I took of a blue jay because you can see those feathers in its wing and its tail so clearly. The feather we have doesn't quite look like the tail feather, does it? But you can see those blue and black stripes. And this one, just the edge has the blue and black stripes. So that's a blue jay feather. Now these other feathers are some of my favorite. They are so beautiful. This is from a bird called a yellow-shafted northern flicker. Yellow-shafted northern flicker. And these were a couple feathers that I found, but I also was lucky enough to find these wings in the woods. A yellow-shafted northern flicker. You can see how those wing feathers are all put together. They lay on top of each other. That prevents water from getting in the wings, and it prevents the air from getting through the wings, so they can stay up in the air. Some animal had caught this bird and had it for a little meal, but there's nothing really to eat in the wings, so it left the wings there in the woods for me to find. The yellow-shafted northern flicker. Here's two of them. It's not the best picture, but you can see how they use their tail to spread out like that. And they'll do the same thing with their wings. Now, these birds will use these feathers to make themselves look very cool to the other birds. It's like putting on your favorite shirt or your favorite pair of pants, only they're wearing it all the time. Isn't that beautiful? Now, those are all the flight feathers I wanted to show you. Now, the next type of feather I want to show you is called a contour feather. And contour feathers kind of look like flight feathers. See how they're all connected at this end? But as you go down, they get very fluffy. And that fluffiness is called down feathers. And down feathers are what keep the birds warm. In the cold weather, in the cold nights, wherever they live, this down keeps them very warm. Now, these feathers would be on their bellies or on their backs. The contour feathers give the bird the shape that you see, and it helps keep them warm. This part will be on the outside. This is the part that you'll see. It's like almost like a rain jacket. It'll keep the rain out and keep the wind out and the cold out. And this will be on the inside, close to the body, that helps keep them warm. That's also from a turkey. I believe both of those are from turkeys. I think this is also from a smaller turkey, but look at how much down is on that. You can imagine how that would be warm for a bird. Now, people have discovered that down on the feathers is so good at keeping things warm that we have even used it in pillows and jackets. This is a jacket that my sister has that she let me borrow, and inside this jacket are down feathers. I don't know if we'll get lucky enough, but let's see if we can find, oh look, here we go. There's a little down feather sticking up through the seam, and it's really hard to see. I won't even show you because it's really hard to see, but trust me, inside that jacket, there's just lots of downy feathers, and that will keep my sister warm in the winter. So contour feathers, they help give the bird their shape and help keep them warm. Now downy feathers, they also keep birds warm. Downy feathers are feathers that have all this and don't have any of this connected part of the wing. They're all warm, and those go underneath, very close to the bird's body, and they help keep the warm air close to its body. Look at all those little things. They almost look like hairs. Just like hair on other animals keeps them warm, hair on our heads can keep us warm. These feathers look a lot more like hair when you look at them closely, and they'll keep you warm. Now, baby birds, let's take a look at some baby birds. Oh, this is a baby turkey. That turkey, it's covered mostly with down feathers. That's a baby goose. Look at how it's mostly fluffy, because baby geese can't fly. So they don't have any need for flight feathers yet. But what they do have a need for is staying warm. So baby birds will mostly be covered in down when they are first born and when they first get feathers. There's a baby duckling, a mallard baby. A mallard is a type of duck. And you can see the down can get wet, especially if they're a water bird like a duck. But they can also help keep water away. Can you see those little droplets on there? If that duck got too wet and stayed wet, its body might get too cold and really hurt itself. But those feathers will help it stay warm. And there's Mama Duck with it. That's one of my favorite pictures. And this one I just wanted to show you because it's funny. This is a baby bird called a Gallinule. They walk around on top of plants that grow in the water. And look at how enormous those feet are. They're almost as big as the rest of the bird. Those feet will keep that bird from falling down through the plants that grow on top of the water. This last set of feathers I want to show you leads to my last thing we'll talk about feathers. It's about camouflage. Feathers are really good, or can be really good, at helping birds hide and stay camouflaged. Now these feathers are from a bird called a ring-necked pheasant. And a lot of animals like to make a ring-necked pheasant their meal. Foxes and wolves and coyotes might try to eat a ring-necked pheasant. So they need to have feathers that help them hide. And these are some feathers that do that. I got these feathers when I was driving down the road one day. Let's back our pictures up. This is a ring-necked pheasant. I was driving down the road and a car in front of me hit a ring-necked pheasant by accident. And the ring-necked pheasant fell to the side of the road. So I stopped my car and I got out to see if it was okay. And luckily, it was okay. It was just kind of knocked silly. It was a little bit dizzy. So I moved it to the side of the road, put it under a bush. But if you look at these feathers here, a lot of the feathers were knocked off of this bird's body. These feathers would have been right here in this space. See how those colorful ones are missing? So it lost some of those feathers. But look at how beautiful all those feathers are. So after that bird flew away, I was able to grab a few that fell off of its body after it got bumped by that car. So friends, I hope you've enjoyed listening and learning and seeing a little bit about bird feathers. We learned about the flight feathers, how they're nice and stiff because they need to push the wind and they need to keep the wind and the water off. In fact, now that we've looked at them all, we'll do a little demonstration. We'll do a little demonstration on how this feather's good at pushing wind, but these contour feathers are not so good. So if I took this feather and I tried to blow those feathers away, I can move the littlest one, and that might have even been my hand, but this isn't really good at pushing wind. But if we get this wing feather here, watch this. Woo! Look at that. I can really move some wind with this type of feather. And if they were all together, it's easy to see how these would help a bird fly. Friends, I hope you enjoyed seeing that video today, learning a little bit about feathers. I'm going to have a few more videos. We'll have some that talk about bird nests. I think we'll do one that talks about their eggs, and maybe we'll do one about how birds eat different things. I hope you had a great time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.